There is North Carolina Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards, who, while you were sleeping in the dead of night at 3:32 a.m. Eastern, announced on social media, quote, "After much prayer and reflection, I've decided to withdraw from my reelection campaign. I will complete my current term."
Brianna, sometimes problems for Republicans come in threes, and it's not just Max Miller in Ohio 7. It's Chuck Edwards in North Carolina's 11th district. It is Corey Mills in Florida's 7th district. All three of them either face allegations of sexual harassment or assault, and in Edwards' case was recommended by the House Ethics Committee for censure. Mills in Florida has faced calls to resign, and now Republicans are extremely nervous about Max Miller.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Yet another MAGA Republican has dropped off the midterm ballot amid scandal. North Carolina Republican Chuck Edwards announced that he is abandoning his re-election campaign after the bipartisan committee recommended that the full House formally censure him. The committee concluded that Edwards engaged in persistent, inappropriate and unprofessional conduct towards 2 young female employees. The report described expensive gifts, personal comments about their appearances, affectionate messages and invitations to private dinners and vacations. A bipartisan panel conducted that his conduct violated House standards concerning sexual harassment and a hostile workplace. And just 2 days after the report became public, Edwards quit the race, vowing to complete his term, but he says he will not seek re-election. And I think he posted it around 3:30 a.m. So clearly he was hoping that Donald Trump would see it during his late night Truth Social meltdowns.
In interviews with the committee, the women named specific interactions with Edwards that in their view went beyond the pale: invites to private dinners, late night personal texts, and in one case, a conversation about strip joints in Washington, D.C. The congressman had brought one woman on a trip to New York City for a political event where they stayed an extra day for his birthday, quote, for which he had planned a helicopter ride, dinner, and a Broadway show, unquote. The congressman brought the same woman to a White House holiday party and asked her which flowers she preferred. She said she was, quote, okay without flowers, thank you. He proceeded to buy her flowers anyway. The congressman was apparently having quite the holiday season. Just a few days later, he offered in a text message to his second female staffer to, quote, skip votes to help her decorate her Christmas tree, to give him, quote, the opportunity to spend a little more time with her. That staffer told the committee that the congressman arranged for a singer to serenade her at a birthday party with an Ed Sheeran song, leading her to tell a friend she didn't think the congressman saw her as just a daughter figure and that she was, quote, scared, low-key.
And with fear already mounting in the Republican Party ahead of the election 3 months away, this is pretty bad news for Trump and Mike Johnson, right? Because Republicans, they're already attempting to defend an extremely narrow House majority in a national environment that is favoring Democrats, according to almost every poll, and how frequently they are flipping seats. And now they must replace an incumbent nominee at the last minute. They have to recruit a credible candidate, rebuild a campaign, and spend money on a race that they wanted to treat as relatively secure. Republicans in North Carolina must now choose a replacement through a district party organization rather than holding, say, another primary. So it's fair to say this was not supposed to become another national Republican headache, right? Trump endorsed Edwards, who was a very pro-MAGA Republican, who it turns out made his young female employees feel incredibly uncomfortable. I wonder why he felt so aligned with MAGA.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
As a result, Edwards' political future collapsed, and this comes as yet another Republican candidate for re-election finds himself in another scandal.
Miller's ex-wife said he poured hot water on her, held a gun to her head, broke their daughter's collarbone. Miller has, of course, denied these allegations, but today he said on CNN that you are, quote, standing behind him.
This isn't about what the national media thinks. This isn't about what people in California or New York or Florida think about what goes on in Ohio 7. What you're going to see here, Jake, is that I am going to be successful in this November because my constituents know who I am, and they also know who my ex-father-in-law is, and they also know who my ex-wife is. And that's why you've seen people aren't running from me. My numbers in fundraising are strong. You know, Speaker Mike Johnson, everyone else, they're standing behind me. No one has told me to get off the ballot. And that's because they know I can win this seat and see this through.
Miller remains a Republican candidate for re-election in Ohio, despite an active House Ethics Committee investigation into domestic abuse allegations and possible illegal drug use.
It's also concerning.
When's the last time you ever used illegal drugs? Because you're being
drugs?
Yes, because you're being investigated right now by the House Ethics Committee.
The last time, I would have to say, the last time I had illegal drugs would have been, I don't know, several years ago. I mean, I don't have a time frame on it, but I don't use illegal
20?
drugs. No, Jake, this is what they're doing, okay? This whole, needles thing, this is testosterone replacement therapy. People are painting this as something that it's not. Secretary Hegseth, who is the Secretary of War just 3 weeks ago, allowed our entire military, who are males, to take testosterone replacement therapy. That's what I was doing. I have not been using any illegal drugs. This is not.
Former wife Emily Moreno has accused him of violent abuse. Now, Emily Moreno's father is Republican Senator Bernie Moreno, who has publicly called for Miller to abandon the race, saying he fails to meet the basic character standards required for public office, and expressed concern for his daughter and granddaughter. Republican leadership has responded with remarkable caution. This is the same party that demands immediate resignations whenever a Democrat faces a serious allegation, and they've now discovered due process, it seems. And while all this is going on in the Republican Party, right, while Trump remains entangled in a woefully unpopular war that is causing prices to skyrocket, impacting the bottom line of everyday Americans. What does Mike Johnson say is the greatest threat to America at the moment? Oh, mini mamdanis.
Sorry about that. So I saw these ex-posts from House Speaker Mike Johnson coming off the win of progressive candidates yesterday, but did you see it? Because if not, I want to read it.
I have not followed his ex.
I want you to hear what he said.
Please.
He said, there is an urgent question facing America. Are we going to maintain our status as the world's greatest superpower and beacon of liberty, opportunity, and security, or allow radical Marxist Democrats to destroy the very foundations that make us the envy of the entire world? Then he has a new paragraph. Democrats now openly express disdain for America and embrace the failed, dangerous, deadly path of communism. We must take a stand and fight to protect the greatest nation in the history of the world from being overrun by mini mamdanis. So
it's a lot of characters. You must have the pro account. Well, I'm assuming that's in response to Abdul El-Sayed's victory yesterday evening. And I think first I'd just like to congratulate Dr. Abdul El-Sayed on his victory. He ran a campaign where it was best described by his words of money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all. And if those simple commitments and beliefs are what drives Representative Johnson to these kinds of conclusions, I think it shows you how deeply out of touch the Republican Party is with the concerns of working class Americans. Because what we have seen is, despite him facing more than $60 million in outside spending, he was able to prevail with a focus on a cost of living crisis and the way in which healthcare is exceedingly out of reach for those who have helped to make this country what it is.
But the thing is, as I've said before, they are petrified ahead of the midterms. It's so evident, and they simply cannot afford to lose another seat. Meanwhile, they're up to their trust funds in scandals in the Republican Party. Meanwhile, Democrats are gaining momentum in competitive areas. If you look at this report from Axios, they have outlined how scandals involving Edwards, Miller, Florida Republican Corey Mills, and Tennessee Republican Andy Ogles are expanding the Democratic House map. Districts that Trump carried comfortably are becoming more expensive for Republicans and less predictable because they're being forced not only to defend the position of the Republican Party that is clearly failing the American people, but defend the conduct of their own incumbents.
These are not normal circumstances, and this is not a normal year. President Trump's approval rating in all three seats is underwater, and these scandals could not only widen Democrats' path for the House majority, but push them higher into perhaps more than 225 or 230 seats.
And Cook Political Report identifies 66 competitive House races, including Ohio's 7th, Miller's district. Who are some of the other Republicans who are in danger here?
there are enough Republicans who are already in the toss-up column on the front lines of Republicans' defense who are vulnerable and enough to get Democrats the House majority. We have 14 Republican-held seats in that category. Democrats only need to flip on net 3 seats to win the majority. And the biggest clusters of vulnerable Republicans are in states that did not gerrymander their boundaries in advance of this cycle. And those would be in Michigan, where Tom Barrett is up for re-election, Iowa's 1st and 2nd and 3rd districts, where Marionette Miller Meeks and Zach Nunn are running for re-election, in Pennsylvania, where you've got 3 Republican incumbents in the toss-up column, Scott Perry, Rob Bresnahan, Ryan McKenzie, Jen Kiggins in Virginia's 2nd district. That's a swing seat where former Democratic Congresswoman Elaine Luria is running. So Democrats have an increasingly wide path to the House majority. It's a question of how high this wave goes.
And this is pretty disastrous for someone like Mike Johnson, right, who has spent weeks warning Americans that Democrats are Marxists, barbarians, and miniature versions of Zohran Mamdani. He wants the midterms to be a referendum on whether a Democrat somewhere supports Medicare for all. But voters are out here saying, maybe you should focus on your own house, mate, because it's very much ablaze.
It's the biggest economic challenges we're facing. It's the cost of food and groceries. Ground beef up 12.4% year over year. Milk up 9% year over year. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins joins me now. Madam Secretary, welcome back. Always good to see you. Yes, eggs are down 27%, but when should the rest of us, as Americans, expect to see meaningful relief on other items?
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.